Yeah, mostly we'll be talking about the islanding detection and control aspects for microgrid system. Uh, Here, particularly, I'll be covering few basics first. Then slowly we'll go to the power quality aspects, how the control mechanism is used for improving the power quality of microgrid system. And a few things we'll be talking about the islanding detection also. Because many of the experts already covered, but wherever it is required, I will discuss. Otherwise, we'll skip the slides. Also. Here, the first part will be the very basics. You can say the for a renewable energy integration. Just 1 minute. I'll be telling you. I'm in a class. Hmm. First is we'll be talking about renewable energy sources. All of us know very well that there are different renewable energy sources. Particularly, we are interested in this renewable energy integration uh, to reduce the fossil fuel. You can say that to reduce the use of fossil fuel, so that the uh, greenhouse gas emission can be reduced. That is the main reason because now the climatic condition also slowly changing. Considering the future challenges or means we have to face. In that way, we should not go with the power generation with the fossil fuels. Instead of that, you can go using the renewable energy sources, and particularly the wind and solar is plentifully available, but we have to utilize it. And how to integrate with the grid, that is also one of the important challenges. And when we are talking about the solar and wind, that also we know that it is intermittent in nature, and uncertainty is also there. And when the grid is there, definitely we won't face much problem because the other sources will be available, and that can take care of the load. But if it is a standalone system, like in a remote area, you are having the standalone microgrid. That time we have to think of because more sensitive loads will be there, and if the solar and wind is not available properly as per the expectation, you have to think of the energy storage system. That will definitely help for the power control and the voltage also. In this way, there are so many renewable energy sources that all of us know that I'm not saying much. And these are the basic blocks for how the wind is converted into the electricity and how it is connected to the grid by means of the power converters. Because the power converters are the major, means having the major role when you are talking about the renewable energy integration. Because the power may be generated from wind or solar, that is either AC or DC, but depending on the requirements, if you are connecting to the DC grid, you have to take the help of converters also. If you are connecting to the AC grid also, you have to take the help of power converters. And there are different wind energy conversion systems, offshore and on-land wind turbines, standalone and grid-connected wind turbines, horizontal axis and vertical axis wind turbines, fixed speed and variable speed wind turbines also there. There are a few basic slides are here. What is called the offshore wind energy conversion system. Offshore wind power or offshore wind energy is the use of wind farms constructed in the bodies of the water, usually in the ocean, to harvest the wind energy to generate electricity. Higher wind speeds, approximately 7 to 8 times, are available offshore compared to the on land. So offshore wind power's electricity generation is higher per amount of capacity installed. Similarly, the on-land wind turbines are installed on the Earth's surface where the wind speeds is adequate. On land wind turbines have advantages such as access is convenient, erosion is less, capital cost and maintenance cost is also less. Similarly, standalone wind energy conversion system means, as I told you, that grid is not connected. It may be in the remote area where the wind energy conversion system is providing the power without the help of grid. This is a grid connected wind energy conversion system is connected to the utility grid. This is the horizontal axis wind energy conversion system. You can see that a turbine in which the orientation of spin axis of the blades is parallel to the ground is called the horizontal axis wind turbine. This is the vertical wind energy conversion system, a turbine in which the orientation of spin axis is perpendicular to the ground, then it is called the vertical axis wind turbine. These are the very basics. We should not focus much on this. And fixed speed wind energy conversion system. The fixed speed wind turbines are those wind turbines which operates only for a particular wind speed. In this turbine, the rotor speed is held constant and it is determined by the grid frequency. That means in spite of different wind speed, the wind turbine rotor speed is fixed. That yesterday that madam also explaining this thing. Variable speed wind energy conversion system. In variable speed wind energy conversion system, the turbine is indirectly attached to the utility grid. In this case, an interface like a power electronic device is placed between the generator and the utility grid. It is of two types based on the wind speed direction, based on the power converter used. Now coming to the photovoltaic system, this is PV power is available at DC, and you can convert from DC to DC to boost the voltage, and then you can use the inverter. And as all of us know, that depending on the control mechanism for the inverter circuit, you can reduce the harmonics, and uh, though means the harmonics may be reduced, still the AC filter is connected. If any other harmonic is present, lower order harmonics, that can be eliminated. And by means of the transformer, you can match the frequency, voltage, all those things, and after that you can connect to the grid. The next is coming to the fuel cell. Fuel cell is one of the important, you can say, the renewables energy source, because particularly this is a clean energy source, and the electrical energy can be produced and delivered to the grid from hydrogen by a fuel cell or a hydrogen combustion generator. The fuel cells produce power through a chemical reaction, and energy is released from the hydrogen when it reacts with the oxygen in the air. Because this fuel cell, you can produce the power, it will be like a energy storage kind of thing also, but its cost is more comparatively. That's why it is not widely used, because of a very expensive. The price will come down maybe in the future. Then battery storage, you can think of the different battery storage like why the battery storage is required. Particularly, it is a standalone system. The battery storage is mainly required to maintain the power flow and power quality also. Here, one of the storage device, you can say superconducting magnetic energy storage. This is also used for a high power rating. And supercapacitors we also use because if the transient load is there, this supercapacitor will come into play. Because where the transient is sudden, their battery will take time little bit for giving the power, and where the supercapacitor will come into action immediately. This is all about the distributed generation. As we told you, the distributed generation means renewable energy sources with the small scale, where it is connected in the, you can say, at the remote places, or in the, you can say, in the marketplace, or in a particular campus. These are the means small places where you can control easily. And distributed generators are the subset of the distribute, distributed resources, because when we'll be talking about the distributed resources, definitely it implies both sources as well as the energy storage. And microgrids are electric networks utilizing these DRs to achieve independent control from a large widespread power grid. This is one of the example how the renewable energy sources as well as the storage devices, even if the electric vehicle is also connected, flywheel is there. Means those high-wheel electric vehicles, they can maintain the, you can say, the inertia. Okay, you can add the inertia to the system. That is important here. These are the system components that we know, that sources, storage devices, loads, power electronics interface. Power electronics interface is a must. Without that, we cannot connect to the grid, or we cannot convert the power also. And microgrid, this is a small example of a microgrid system. Means a controller will be there, and power electronic devices will be there, sources, storage device, like that. These are the small examples of where the microgrid application is there, particularly for residential. Maybe it is a village also. For a particular village, one microgrid you can set up. For a data center also, you can set up a microgrid. For a institute campus or any industry also, you can set up a microgrid. There are different applications are there where you can think of. There are so many advantages of the microgrid that will not be talking here. Definitely, it is more flexible because control is in your hand, and it is a small in size, and the complication is less. Definitely, those things are there. And now we are also the government particularly encouraging the customers to go for the residential power generation. That way you can connect to the grid also. This is one of the example how the microgrid is connected to the grid by means of the multi-level inverter. All the sources are there, depending on the power. We are using the either DC to DC or AC to DC, like that, and all are connected to the DC grid. And if the DC grid is there, DC loads are connected easily. And if you want to connect to the utility grid, then you can convert it into AC by means of the multi-level inverter. Then it is connected to the grid. This is one of the means figure taken from one publication, I think. This is all about smart grid. When we are talking with the smart grid, if you will add the information technology or communication technology with the microgrid system, it comes to the smart grid. How fast data can be communicated, and accordingly the decision will be taken. And today also one of our expert, he discussed that the smart grid is nothing but a intelligent grid. How quickly you can take the decision depending on the data flow. This is regarding the few historical data, you can say, global scenario of renewable sources. This is also renewable energy growth that we are not talking much because already it is covered by Dr. Chittibabu, I think. Here I can say one thing, that what is the opportunity available at present, and what is the means country thinking of or where we are at present, currently installed total wind generation capacity is 37.69 gigawatt by financial year 18-19. And particularly most of the wind farms you will find western and southern regions of India include 90% installed capacity. And target for 22 is 60 gigawatt, which implies almost doubling of the currently installed capacity. Okay. That you can think of where the most of the entrepreneurs they are thinking of how to increase the power generation from the wind. Now also many schemes are coming to the institute also. They can go for the power generation from wind or solar in their own campus. Because here also there you can see that what is the installed solar PV generation capacity, that is 28.18 gigawatt by financial year 18-19. And most regions of India have an abundance of sources of solar energy, no doubt about it. Target for 22 is 100 gigawatt, which implies almost 3 times of the currently installed capacity. There is a huge scope here to generate the power from PV and wind. And as we told that power electronics converters are the heart of this system. And we know that what is the basic of power electronics the converters working. Controller will be there to generate the PWM signal by which the PWM switch, PWM signals will be fed to the switches, power electronic switches. Then, depending on that, it will be turned on and off, and you can control the output voltage or frequency depending on our requirement. This is a basic block diagram, and there are different applications where you can use the different switches depending on the voltage rating or different applications are there. These are the switching devices, GTO, MOSFET, IGBTs. The next is a PV interfacing inverter. What we told that inverter is the main important component in interfacing with the grid. Or you can say when it is a standalone system also it needs it is also having the importance. Then interfacing inverter is must if you are going for the AC loads. This is a basic diagram how the PV is connected to the inverter and inverter to the utility grid. How the MPPT is connected here, because to extract the maximum power, you use the MPPT controller or MPPT algorithm. Similarly, to maintain the perfect sinusoidal, it may not be possible to achieve the perfect sinusoidal voltage or current. Still, the controller is means you have to think how control mechanism and how beautifully it is giving you the voltage and current. That's why the many papers you will be finding in control aspects. Oh, sorry. Yeah, these are the inverters, but these inverters are operating with the PWM switches. And we know that particularly if you are going for the PWM inverters, you can reduce the harmonics. There are different ways of PWM signal generation. Either you can use the single pulse width modulation, multiple pulse width modulation, sinusoidal pulse width modulation. There are so many modulation techniques. Now there are modified space vector modulation also there. There are different ways how you can reduce the harmonics. In single pulse width modulation, we know that it is only a single pulse per half cycle that you can see here. That depending on the reference signal and carrier signal, you will get one pulse per half cycle. Because two signals are compared, that is one is reference, another is carrier. And depending on that reference signal magnitude and carrier signal magnitude, that ratio is called the modulation index, which determines the width of the pulse. And frequency of the reference signal determines the output voltage frequency. This is a basic diagram because when Cabello will be giving you the clear picture about the control mechanism, we should know at least some basics also. But here the only disadvantage is that only one, this is the output voltage waveform Fourier series, you can say. Okay. And with the help of this single pulse width modulation inverter, you can reduce only or you can eliminate only one particular harmonics, either third or fifth. Any one of the harmonic you can eliminate by uh, considering a particular pulse width. Okay, that is the major disadvantage. That's why we generally go for the multiple pulse width modulation, where the number of pulses is more than one per half cycle. You can see here we are showing you the two pulses per half cycle. Okay. Here the advantage is there that multiple number of harmonics can be eliminated. But here the multiple pulse width modulation is a pulse width is of equal value. Here you can see. That's why we are going for the sinusoidal pulse width modulation. Here we are not talking much because these are the very basic things in power electronics, and most of you know this. That's why I'm not giving much importance on this. Yeah, sinusoidal pulse width modulation means what? Here the instead of reference signal, rectangular waveform, you can think of a reference signal is a sinusoidal waveform. Here you can see. And carrier signal is the triangular waves. And reference signal frequency will determines the output voltage frequency. And depending on the number of means triangular waves, you can get the number of pulses per half cycle. Then two things are here important. One is the modulation index. Another is the pulse width. These two things are important here. It will depending on the pulse width. The pulse width will depend on the modulation index. It will increase or decrease by controlling the modulation index. And the frequency of reference signal is same as the output voltage frequency. Next, we'll be discussing this one. We will not be talking here. Reduction of harmonics. That is selective harmonic control that Cabello will discuss, or we'll be discussing later. These are the two PWM signals generated. One is the unipolar, another is the bipolar PWM signals. Now we will be coming to the design aspects for a PV system level. When we will be talking about the design aspects for a PV system, we have seen that inverter is there, DC to DC converter is there, capacitor is there, filter circuit is there. Then those are the main components, and arbitrarily we cannot connect. You have to think that for your system or what your means prototype you are maybe developing at your laboratory, you have to design means what are the optimal rating of those components. Let the inverter rating or filter rating, filter capacitor, filter inductor, all those parameters you have to determine, and most of the literature is available, and only the few information we are writing here, the empirical expressions are there that you can follow. Will not be discussing on those equations. Okay. AC link capacitor selection, all those things are there. Then the next part is different topologies of the PV inverters. One is centralized inverters, string inverters, multi-string inverters. And a centralized inverter means all the PVs are connected to one centralized inverter. And definitely the disadvantages will be there because only one inverter is there. If any fault occurs, then the total power failure occurs here. string inverters reduced version of centralized inverter. Single string of PV modules is connected to the inverter. That means for each string there is a inverter. Okay. If any inverter does not work, one string may not provide the power supply, but other strings will provide the power supply. And similarly, another is a multi-string inverter that you can see here. Every string can be controlled individually. Thus, the operation may start one PV power plant with a few modules. Further, the enlargements are easily achieved since a new string with DC to DC converter can be plugged into the existing platform. That is true. And these are the basic things we just covered. Now you come to the power quality improvement. Why the power quality improvement is required? That is one of the important aspects when we'll be talking about the renewable energy integration. Because when we are connecting the renewable energy integration via the inverter, either a three-level inverter or you can say the multi-level inverter, but the output of the inverter is not a perfect waveform. It is distorted in nature. Then if the distorted in nature, you cannot connect to the grid. Because only you have to maintain the pure sinusoidal, then only you can connect to the utility grid. I told you at 4 o'clock, no? I'll be available at 4. You inform them. Yes, right. Yeah, that we are talking about how the power quality can be improved. When we will be talking about the power quality improvement with the devices like active power filter or passive power filters, few things we have to discuss here that only the inverter does not create the harmonics. There are many other things are there in picture, like the if you can connect a nonlinear load, that will introduce the harmonics. So many aspects are there, and any disturbance like the PQ events are there. It may create the harmonics also. These are the PQ events that will not be discussing here because these are the very basic ideas. Different voltage sag, voltage swell, all those things. But only the point is here when we are working on a system, we have to know at least what is voltage sag, what should be the duration, and what should be its magnitude, maximum minimum magnitude. Because when we are creating a system in a Simulink, and when you are introducing a voltage sag, you have to keep in mind that what should be the duration of that voltage sag and what is the maximum minimum limit magnitude. Arbitrarily, we should not introduce, we will be claiming that the test is for voltage sag, but our duration may be violating. Those are the things you have to keep in mind. That's why these are the very basics of the voltage sag, voltage swell that I am not covering because I will be giving more time to Tabella. He can go for the hands-on practice. Yeah, we are interested a little bit here, the power quality improvement using different power filters. Okay, like the passive and the active power filters. It will go for the combination of passive and active, that is a hybrid power filters. And particularly the passive filters, we know that there is a major drawback. It can eliminate only a particular harmonics, you can say, or it is a bulky in size. And where the active power filter, it is a dynamic in nature. Depending on your requirement, you have to use your control algorithm and you can produce the compensating harmonics, compensating current, you can say, to compensate the harmonics. And because it is called the active power filter, why? And the source is energy source is available where you can produce the compensating current, which is not possible with the passive filters. These are the different topologies that which is called the sound active power filter. If the power filter is connected in parallel to the load is called shunt active power filter. This is a detailed diagram. You can see how this shunt active power filter is here. Here it will see the source is a active power filter is nothing but an inverter with a DC source, and that DC source can be replaced by a PV also, PV, and your three-phase source can be connected as a can be considered as a utility grid, and here nonlinear load is connected. And definitely due to the nonlinear load, it is drawing the nonlinear current, and our main objective is to maintain the pure sinusoidal current from the source side also. Here, these are the modeling of the three-phase shunt active power filter that you can refer. We will be sharing these slides. We will not be talking much. These are the differential equations. And here the current and voltage control loop. We are particularly collecting the feedbacks from the load side, and depending on that load currents, we are generating the reference signal. Reference signal means that is a compensating current. What should be the compensating current to be produced by the PWM inverter, so that it will eliminate the harmonics. And we know that we generally go for the DQX is we convert from ABC to DQ, and the DQX makes the more simpler controller algorithm. And you can think of that one is active power component, another is reactive power component, and based on that, control will be more easier. Yeah, here you can see that different test cases we have taken for this active power filter, and we have checked that how the harmonics is reduced by using the active power filter. Here you see that without active power filter, your source current is distorted in nature. And here after this, we are connecting a active power filter where the source current is coming almost sinusoidal. Voltage is sinusoidal, there is no problem because of the nonlinear load, the load current is non-sinusoidal. And up to active power filter, it is non-sinusoidal. Once you connect the active power filter, and compensating current will be produced, and which will eliminate the harmonics, and this is almost, you can say, desired value, because it is coming, the THD is within the limit, that is around 5.4. Still, it depends on the control algorithm also. And here the different test cases under the load variation, if you increase or decrease the load, then how the controller is responding, or active power filter is responding. This is under unbalanced condition, unbalanced load condition. The next is what I told you, that same PV integrated shunt active power filter. What I told you that DC can be replaced by a PV panel, and this is a PV interfacing system where the active power filter is used for controlling the power quality or improving the power quality. These are the design aspects of a PV integrated SIPL. Yeah, this is one of the published work that already Kaval has explained in the last presentation. Yeah. Next is the multi-level inverter integrated systems. Should I cover Kaval, or you will be discussing?
I can discuss, sir. I will discuss all these things. I will
You
discuss
can
these
discuss.
things. Yeah.
Okay. Because I have a meeting, I should leave otherwise.
Yeah, sure, sir. No problem.
Okay, it's better this control and energy management. I will talk something, and then Kavela will be discussing. Yeah, what we will be talking here, particularly the seamless operation. Now the buzzword is seamless operation of microgrid system. Okay, when we'll be talking about the seamless operation of the or seamless transition of the microgrid system, that means either you can operate the microgrid in grid connected mode or in the standalone mode. Immediately it may switch over from grid connected to islanded mode or islanded mode to grid connected mode. But you have to see that whether the microgrid is stable in operation or not. Okay, that means what the load is connected or what the supply renewable sources are available. There should be a energy storage device also. Because when we will be switching over from the grid connected to islanded mode, more complicacy arises. More complicacy arises due to this reason that particularly one of the reason is that once it is islanded, then the so many hazardous is possible. Personally, if someone is working to this side, it means renewable DG side, he will be affected. That is the one reason. Second reason is when the grid is not there, how you will maintain the voltage and frequency? Because there will be a misbalance between the load as well as the power generation. There is a every chance. That's why the energy storage device should be there once you want to operate safely in the islanding mode. And when the switchover takes place, uh, that time you have to see and say how the controller is working. Because when the system is in grid connected mode, that time you can say that inverter is a current controlled mode. It is operating under current controlled mode. And when it will be switching over to the standalone system, that time you have to operate the inverter in voltage control mode because you have to maintain the voltage and frequency. Previously, it was maintained by the grid itself, voltage and frequency. Now the grid is out of the scene. Then the voltage and frequency should be maintained. Then switchover technique, switchover control mechanism should be there, where the inverter will be controlled by the voltage control mode. Similarly, there may be a complication, there may be a chance that what the power generation available with PV, wind, or energy storage, that may not be sufficient to meet the load demand also. Then there is a chance you have to go for the load shedding also. Means priority based load. Now we are segregating. Means when we are thinking of a microgrid system, you have to segregate the load, priority based load, which are the sensitive loads, which loads can be disconnected easily. Those things you have to take into account when you are designing a microgrid system for a seamless operation. That is here algorithm is written. Already we have published. If anyone is interested for a seamless transition of microgrid system, they can refer. And we have also done some experimental work here. Here you can see the islanding condition is there where the if it is islanded, this is the current response. In that way, you have to see how the controller is working. Then another is DC microgrid. We talk about DC microgrid. Now many places you will find in the data center, all those things. This DC microgrid is more convenient because you can say the complexity issue will be reduced and the control mechanism will be more easy comparatively. Here, this is also one of the published work in the industrial informatics. Here, the many sources are there and energy storage device is also connected and battery is also battery and the super capacitor is also connected. Here we have seen that how fast the super capacitor is working under transient condition. That you can see here. One of the result I will show you. Here you can see that how the supercapacitor is taking the peak immediately and where the battery takes more time. This way you can see that transients to take care of the transients, the supercapacitor is the most important, and there is definitely there is a limitation of charging and discharging rate also. Those things you have to take into account when you are designing a circuit. Yeah, this is a grid tied DC microgrid. This is already published. You can see now. Islanding, I will not be talking much today. Okay, we'll see in some other. If time permits, we'll discuss in some other slots. Okay, Kavila.
Sir.
You can continue with your hands-on practice.
Yes, sir.
I'll be concluding with this much. Particularly, we have discussed few fundamental aspects, and that is the seamless operation of AC microgrid. Very basics we have covered, because I know many of the participants they are not attending regularly also, and if we'll go into very depth, that may not be useful for them. We'll be covering another aspects that what is our research area, different research area you can see here. Here this is a power management for AC microgrid that we discussed, and this is another paper also, the reduced switch multi-level inverter with new selective harmonic elimination control. I think you will be discussing this one, I think. Yeah, selective harmonic elimination control. And another paper is here also, power quality improvement. This is also published with a the hybrid control algorithm. As yesterday our Spencer was saying, you can go theoretically or simulation, all those things. It may not be accepted by the industry so easily. Okay, then but anyhow, we are doing the work. We have to produce the results with the different controllers. Here the hybrid controller is used. And, there are so many papers in different areas. Those who are interested, they can go through it, and any kind of means assistance or support required, you can discuss with us, because we have the hardware setup here. If you are thinking of developing a new controller or a new intelligent, some kind of machine learning technique in a islanding detection, you can test it here with the hardware. That facility we have. Only you have to communicate officially, and we'll definitely provide that kind of support. Thank you all.